let's take a deep dive into Alexisonfire's album Otherness. You already know this, that I had it as one of my top 9 albums of 2022. You were kind enough to provide some behind the scenes info about it for that episode, so I appreciate that. So I'm just, for our listeners, I'm going to share a little bit of info about this album. So debuts at number 4 in Canada. There's 3 singles: Sweet Dreams of Otherness, Reverse the Curse, and Sans Soleil, which is my favorite song on the album. And this is their first album in 13 years. And Darren, who also provided some behind the scenes info, Darren, who's at the same studio as you, he mentioned that this wouldn't have happened without a global pandemic. Can you speak to that a little bit?
So what we heard from the guys when they wrote the songs, um, they were stuck because their jobs kind of stopped as well. I guess except for George, because he's also a firefighter, so it's one of the essential services. But Christopher Steele, for example, who's generally a barber outside of Alexis, he couldn't work for a while. And then Beardo, Jordan, he couldn't drum with Billy Talent in that time because, no live music happens. And then the same for Wade. And I feel like it was, well, and Dallas,
Dallas would have been on
yeah,
tour for
he would
sure.
have also not been able to really play. So everyone was kind of just in this weird, you're in a hamster wheel and all of a sudden it stops and you look around, and they needed some kind of outlet of getting, you know, of getting the feelings and emotions out of them, because it was just not possible with how they generally did their life. And I mean, life can sometimes get the best of you, and you kind of just, you don't necessarily get creative because there's so much distracting you and responsibilities that you have. But everyone was stopped at the same time. And I think that just really tied them closer together because they are longtime friends. And, that's the time when you reach out to your friends and ask them how they're doing and sharing song ideas. And that's when they really got together and decided, you know what, we have all of these song ideas. Let's do something. And they did have a few songs before. There was 3 singles they did before this album. So it's not like out of nowhere. They have been playing before together. It was, I think, 1 or 2 years maybe that they played a few shows here and there, and they had 3 single releases. So it wasn't out of nowhere, but it was more concentrated, I feel like, because they realized, let's do this thing again. Like, let's not just do a single again, but like a full album, because they have so much to say. And it was also one of the albums where a lot of other things happened. It was the first time that the bassist Christopher Steele was writing a song. Or I think he wrote 2 or 3 actually. And then George was not just screaming, he was actually singing. And he has a beautiful low voice, so low and growly. That was kind of by accident in a way. I mean, he knew he can sing and all that, but he was still a little insecure about it because it's not what he generally does. So I was actually recording him for one of the songs and he sang it. And I just kept saying, like, man, it sounds really, really good for this song. And then I think it was Wade who came in. It's like, oh my God, this is amazing. Dallas walks in, loves it. And then everybody's just continuously, it was a big love fest. Everyone just encourages each other to just, yeah, that's your idea for the song. It sounds amazing. Let's do this. So it was a very, it was a group effort on their behalf. Everyone was in the same mindset, had the same idea together. And even for Sans Soleil, it was Wade's song. But Wade said, like, you know what, Dallas, I think it would sound better if you sing it. And, there was no ego in between them. There was no, oh, it's my song, I have to sing it. It was just, no, I think for the song, it turns out better this way.
And how talented is that band? I mean, you just named all the different members. They all have their own side projects that are successful. It's wild. I mean, they're so talented that you mentioned to me that your job was basically to just capture the magic. Like, they're so talented that they would play and you just have to be ready to capture what they're doing.
And another addition too was Matt Kelly, who I think for the first time played with these guys. He plays with City and Carlo generally too, but he added so much more vibe because he plays basically any instrument you give him, he plays. Like, he's just very talented that way. But he's also just a very great person to be around. So it was this one outside perspective that got brought in that really enriched the band as well. To add, intros here and there, or just play the pedal steel on this one song, which they didn't really have those instruments before. So it just gave them more of a versatility to be, okay, what do we want? Let's put it on. And not what can we do, but more what do we want? What do we need? It was a little different than if you're just like, okay, what am I able to do? And then you stay within that realm. It was more like, this is us, like, let's do this right.
When I was posting about that album Otherness from Alexisonfire, I'm tagging band members and making sure everyone sees it and word gets out. And I saw that this Matt Kelly guy liked it. He liked a few of the Alexisonfire videos. I'm like, oh, cool, who's that? And I look into it, and it's like he plays with them. He plays with City and Color. So I was like, oh, that's awesome that he actually saw my stellar review of the album, which is cool. I have some kind words. Can you handle some more kind words?
Maybe.
We'll
Not
see.
used to that, but
I
that's
know,
okay.
I know. We're never used to, we just do our thing with our heads down. But I got some kind words. This is from Jordan Gauthier, who had a hand in the Alexisonfire album Otherness. He's on the drum side with YC Drum Company, and his role is to make sure that the drums sound incredible for Ratbeard. And this is what Jordan has to say. Jill is an immense talent in the studio. Her ability to capture performances with precision and the utmost quality is truly something I've always admired when I've been fortunate enough to work alongside her. Her genuine kindness, humor, and wittiness allows for a stress-free and truly enjoyable work environment. She has already worked on numerous amazing and notable projects, and I truly believe that it is only the beginning of her successes. That's Jordan Gauthier.
Thank you. Yeah. I've worked on a few records with him providing the drums and tuning them. Yeah.
There you go. Let's
Yeah.
dive into the. It's hard to just accept
It's so
all
hard.
these kind words, you know?
It's harder too because I feel like I was the fifth of seven kids. So that's when like the compliments don't pour in as much anymore, because everything you do, somebody else does better in a way. Like, not in a negative way, but it's just not something I am personally used to. So when people say compliments, I'm usually just like, okay, thank you. I don't really know what to say. Like, I appreciate it and I take them in, and I'm really happy for them, but it's just sometimes hard for me to know how to respond to it verbally. You know what I mean?